Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Goofy Glasses time. It's very early in the morning on the East Coast on March 4th. We're going to talk about hockey and basketball, and we're here with Katrina. Katrina, why on earth did you hang out with me after we hung out in the hot springs? I mean, you came back to the hotel and you're recording a video about sports. What's wrong with you?
Lots of things, but it was actually your idea to record this video.
That's true, it was.
I don't know.
I had to do work. I have to report to people. I have work to do. I can't just not do work.
You're right, and I'm here, right? So why not?
She's here. She's awesome. I've been explaining to her how these spreadsheets work. So we're going to talk about what's going on, as well as she's going to ask me questions when I start talking like an autistic moron and start talking about numbers that nobody understands. She will hopefully stop me and say, "What are you talking about, Ken?" So that we can communicate accurate information. So let's talk about hockey first. And what happened was, it was a pretty good day hockey-wise on, I don't know, what was it, Wednesday yesterday? Looks like we went 5-1. I actually won money. We were up at the hot springs where there was no cell phone reception, so I didn't know how the games went. And when we got back to cell phone reception, I was up like 150%. So that was pretty awesome. What happened? St. Louis won. They didn't cover, but they won. They won the game 3-2 here. Washington came back and beat Boston. That's a really good pick because that was our underdog pick. So here, this money line being over 100 means that we win $138 when we bet 100. That's much better than a lot of these other ones that were underdogs that we had. So this was where we beat Vegas. Vegas, or the odds makers, thought that Boston was going to win this game. We thought Washington was going to win. We were right. So we win more money than normal. Right, so that won, Toronto won, and St. Louis won, and that's what I had bet. Toronto changed, put in Frederik Andersen late. That made them be more favored in this game, 4-1. They ended up winning 6-1. They just dominated that game. So it was an excellent day on Wednesday. Let's talk about Thursday. And we've got Katrina here. So do we need Elena at all? I don't think we need Elena at all, right? I mean, Elena's picking winners. Or she'll still pick a winner, but you're also going to pick a winner. So looking at this day, and we were talking about this before, what am I looking for in this adjusted power to determine which team is good and which team is bad? Meaning which team I would bet on. What looks color-wise and number-wise like it is a distorted comparison between two teams? Like, is this 61% for Philly and this 44% for Pittsburgh? That's only a 21% or 17% disparity, as opposed to what? Look at that. That's enormous, right? Saying that Carolina is really going to rout Detroit, right? So this would be a really good pick. However, that line is terrible. Minus 286 is terrible. It means you got about $286 just to win 100. So you have to contemplate, well, what's a reasonable payout versus where's their comparison? Look at this. That's crazy. And that's not as bad. Minus 190 is not as bad as minus 286. So this means that the Islanders are probably one of our best picks on this day. Florida over Nashville at minus 136. That's a pretty good one. We're looking for these teams that have really low percentages. And we're going with the other team. Toronto over Vancouver if they play Frederik Andersen. All of these goalies are not necessarily confirmed yet. I think none of them are confirmed. Vasilevsky's confirmed for Florida. Sorry, Bobrovsky is confirmed for Florida. Everybody else is unconfirmed, so we really don't know who's going to happen yet. So, based on this list, do you like anybody?
Let's see. Hold on, there's a lot going on, so
yeah,
just gotta take a.
Elena would say that she thinks that the Islanders are a good pick because this team is so weak at 17%. Mm-hmm. Like, if you think about who's going to win versus who's going to lose, well, one team can be really very good. Well, what about when another team is really very bad? It's tough for a bad team to win. Yeah. So if you go against the worst team, that's what Elena likes to do. She likes to pick one. So she would probably pick the Islanders, or she might pick Carolina. She's going to pick one of those two. I'm not really sure yet.
Let's look at...
Yeah.
I was looking at whatever TB is in Chicago.
Tampa Bay is a good team, right? Yep.
But it's 205. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's because, of course, you're looking at Chicago, right?
I'm from Chicago.
Yes, you are.
That's not why, but
Here in this situation, it does favor Tampa Bay, which is a very good team. The reason why I would stay away from this a little bit is this 64 right here. 64% is actually a very good rating for a team. So even though Tampa Bay is very good, Chicago is pretty good. And the projected score is not aligning. I also say something else when I do these videos, which is I always say, never listen to me, always listen to the algorithm. So when I make assessments that disagree with what the numbers say, I always say, don't ever listen to me because I'm usually wrong.
Yeah.
So this file says, yes, that Tampa Bay absolutely should beat Chicago, and it should beat them 4-1 or 5-1. I know Chicago's been playing a little better lately, though, and they are a pretty good team. So it's not an Elena pick for the best one versus the worst one because Chicago is not the worst. Chicago is a very good. Think about all the other teams that Chicago could be playing at 64% that they would beat. They would beat all these other teams, right? All these teams are less than 64%. Right. So they're a good team. So even though they're supposed to lose to Tampa Bay, they're a good team, and you don't want to bet against a good team because they're a good team, right? So I would say, meanwhile, you'll probably be lucky and you'll probably be right that Tampa Bay will win. So there's a couple things to play here. I do like Carolina, and I do like the Islanders, who've also been playing very well. Whether or not you take them minus 1.5 goals to get a better line is another situation. Let's talk about college basketball next. So yesterday's college basketball, I discussed Abilene Christian as the pick of the day. They did win by 2. Where are they? There we are. They won the game by 2, so that is nice. Elena's happy. She won. And it was a reasonable day at 18-8 and 13-13 on the spread. If you put in a 9%, there's a 2% home bump sitting there. Sorry, let's go back to 0% like I sent out the email at. Doesn't really change anything. Would anything have gotten better if you'd added a bump of, say, like 15%? I think that might have made it a little better. 13-7 instead of, 19-7 instead of 18. It makes it a little better. So I guess there were a couple home teams or away teams that got removed from that list when we bumped up the home teams a little bit. But otherwise, it was a pretty good day, and the team I mentioned to pick won. So let's talk about today and how do we analyze this big, huge list. Because this one's even more complicated than hockey because we're looking at a lot of different things. And a couple things. First thing we're doing is we're sorting by this margin here, and we're looking for any good lines. And there are none until about here. Bradley, who's got teams the players that are hurt or suspended. You don't want to deal with that. We've got underdogs. We've got all kinds of stuff. This one's a complicated sheet to go through, and I try to explain this to everyone because it has so much data in it. But there's a couple different ways we can sort it so that we can come up with a pick that Elena will like. She just wants to take one. She just wants to watch one game. She doesn't like to make it complicated. Sometimes we can bet on dozens of games even, and it's just too much. So what's the best one? Well, first thing you can do is click this underdog slicer. This tells you where the algorithm flat out disagrees with the odds makers. It says the odds makers think that this team is a favorite, and the algorithm thinks this team's the favorite, which is why this money line is a positive number greater than 100. It means we get more than 1-to-1 on our bet. Are any of these teams good? Do any of these teams have a good chance to win? The answer is no. And also I have something wrong here with this Texas-Oklahoma game because people are not supposed to have 200% health. I got to fix that. But none of this looks good. The reason why is because the margins are super low, so the comparison between teams is very close, and so there's not a really good decision to be made because it's super close. It could go either way. So the underdogs don't look good today. So we're not going to use that as a guide about what the best pick is. What we can do is we can use this spread cover number. What the spread cover number talks about is we're projecting point scores for the game. And when we do that, it compares it to the line that Vegas is offering. So it's basically saying that we think Morgan State.
What just happened?
I know. So trust me.
I'm still got stuck on the
No, it's okay. Let's go through it. So here's a point projection for this game. There's a game between Morgan State and Delaware State. We think, the algorithm thinks, that Morgan State is going to win 87-64. That is a 7 plus 9. What is it? 23 point differential. We think that they're going to win. Well, Las Vegas, or the odds makers, have already made a determination on how many points that they think Morgan State is going to win by. They think it's going to be 11. Well, we think it's going to be 22 or 23. So that means we think they're going to cover the spread, meaning they're going to win by more than the 11 that Vegas says they have to win by. So when I sorted this thing descending by spread cover, what I was saying is, well, where do we think, based on our point projections of the game, where do we think that there's a distortion in what Vegas is doing versus what we think is actually going to happen? And this is why this is the top one of that. It thinks that Morgan State is going to win by 23. Vegas only thinks they're going to win by 11. So if you go down the list, you'll see that that number gets closer and closer to 0 as we go down the list, because that's what the spread cover is. This is extra points that we think the team is going to win by more than Vegas thinks the team is going to win by. And the reason why it matters what Vegas thinks is because the spread, if you bet on a team minus the points or with the spread, you get even money almost as your return bet. So you don't have to deal with this money line thing. So there are a couple different ways to bet. I know the people watching this video have a little bit more idea how to bet. But the whole point is that I'm trying to isolate games where there's a distortion, where we can bet, where we can take advantage of a good line. And so this is saying take Morgan State minus 11 points because they're supposed to win by 22. So is that a good pick? The answer is not really. I'll tell you why. They're not a strong team. This power percentage tells you how strong the team is independent of any other forces. They're only an 8% team. A lot of these other teams are bigger and better. So this is not a good pick because they're a weak team to begin with. They have a good margin because this Delaware State team is apparently one of the worst teams in existence. So it looks like they're supposed to win a lot because Delaware State is so bad. But this team is also bad. And I've learned you don't bet on bad teams. Like, you bet on bad teams, you're going to find yourself losing. So we need to find a better team. And we can actually filter for only better teams. I have a slicer filter to do that. So on a day like today, I would not want to wager on a team that is not at least a 40% team. So let's go 44-79. These are all only going to be strong teams that are going to show up. So really, one of these teams needs to be our pick. Another thing we like is we like home teams, because we just Google searched them and found out that Google said that home teams are better for some reason, which we were both amazed to see that Google respond with that. So we want one of these home teams as well. So we'll just click home. And we also want a reasonable line. The most reasonable line is here. It's minus 238 because it's the most green. It's still not good, but it's also minus 5.5 points. So what's going on in this game? This is Richmond versus Duquesne. And the margin is 16%, so the margin's kind of low compared to the other ones, but they're a strong team, and we think that they're going to win the game by 9 points, and they only have to cover 5.5 points to get paid. So this might be the pick of the day, because it's a reasonable line, and it's up on this list, and a lot of things are consistent here. There really isn't much to bet. These lines are so terrible that a lot of times I'll just tell people there's nothing good to bet today in college basketball. Like, I'd rather bet on something else. And that's kind of the conclusion that we're coming to. But let's look at all the games again real quick to see if there's anything else in there. There's so many different pieces to look at. I feel like I'm kind of gypping the people that subscribe to this and use this, because really you could endlessly go through a lot of relevant factors and do some serious statistical analysis to figure out exactly what this filter and what this sort is supposed to look like every day. And I just get bogged down with going down the rabbit hole forever. Like, I keep trying to make it better all the time, or you can just, like,
it's a science, I guess.
It is. and there's some things it doesn't take into account as well.
Right. Like luck.
Like luck, like somebody's freaking grandma died before the game, and everyone's going to give them the ball because they want them to. There's all kinds of reasons that are not included. So, is there anything good college basketball wise? I just I just don't know. There's also the tournament is starting soon as well. So this is the way to look at this, is descending by margin, because you want to see, is there any good lines up here? This team is away. 162 Massachusetts is at home against St. Joseph's. This is not bad, but they've only played 13 games. So these are teams that haven't played a lot. I'm tempted to say that I don't want to advise anybody to play anything today, but I really should give everybody at least one pick. I gotta fix this. I'll fix this out in the email tomorrow for those that are watching this video. I'll get that right. Jacksonville State at is at home against Murray State. 16%, low margin. This is a really good line. It's way down here, but they're home. It's not a bad line, but it's not an Elena pick. There's nothing screaming out to me as an awesome pick today. I just don't see it. And also, there'll be an update. God, I think there will be an update later in the day as more games come out, because I know that the conference tournaments or things are going on where people are qualifying for stuff. I haven't been up to date on it completely, but we'll work on that, because I know there's certain teams that really want to win for seeding purposes right now, and I need to identify this so it'll be more helpful. So I guess my advice is that this whole college basketball thing I just did doesn't yield a lot of actionable information for Thursday. But here it is for those of you who want to bet. So I'm actually not going to make a pick with Elena because I just didn't like anything. But what I will do is I will go back to hockey, and I will say that the Islanders and Florida, and Katrina says Tampa Bay because she used to live in Chicago. Did you ever go to a Blackhawks game?
I did, actually. That was my first professional sporting event that I ever went to with my father.
Wow.
Back when I was in the 5th grade, or 5th or 6th grade, I saw the Mighty Ducks movie. And I was like, I want to play hockey, Dad.
Wow.
And I guess he thought I was a girl and I should have played hockey. So I know you play hockey.
Yeah.
And he took me to a Blackhawks game.
Right on.
It was fun.
Good times. No, that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good story. All right, well...
I was actually rooting for Boston based on your, or TV, whoever that is, based on
TV,
your...
Tampa Bay.
Adjusted power there.
They're an extremely strong team, and they find ways to win. I'm a little concerned because Chicago has been playing well. And there's another thing I'm going to be adding in here, which is how hot the team is, the last 10 days. And I don't have it showing right now, but it would show that Chicago is streaking well. So is Tampa Bay. It's a battle of two good teams, and what I expect to see tomorrow is not what the algorithm is showing by point projections. But I shouldn't doubt it, because I've been proven so many times to not know what I'm talking about. I should listen to it, because what it is doing is it is incorporating all the stats in what it views to be the appropriate manner. So us as humans just can't take in and assimilate everything in our brain in a logical manner, because we all have our own biases. This eliminates the bias and therefore gives you just an objective thing to look at. But we'll see what happens. We'll judge you on Tampa Bay tomorrow. That's what we will do.
I'm excited now.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the first time I'm dipping into sports betting, so I'm just.
Well, you're in Colorado now, so you could make money with this. This is the thing.
I didn't even know there was a thing. There was a thing in sports betting. I thought it was legal everywhere. So.
No, it's not legal.
I'm a girl, guys. I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch sports.
No, but. Well, we'll see if you could even not watching sports make money off of this with the algorithm. Because what I'd tell you to do is I would say, take, if you took just $20 and you put it on Carolina, it's a pretty strong game here. I really said the Islanders, right? Islanders are playing well. You can do different iterations of bets too, where you get paid more if they win by more goals. There's a whole rabbit hole we could go down. I'm not going to do it right now, but you could take $20 and you could try to win 100 betting on 2 or 3 games, or you depending on how you want to do it. Sometimes you can do really small bets. I have another calculator in here where you can. It's like a lottery with an edge. You can bet $19 and have a chance of winning $1,000 if you hit 7 games in a row, which is very rare. But when it happens, it's an amazing day, and you win overall. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, and that'll probably be. I will definitely continue to focus on betting strategies. But and it's not just hockey or basketball; it's everything. You can bet on everything.
Yeah.
Bet on MMA. You can bet on
Right.
baseball, all the stuff. So, all right, that is the update. It's a long video. I will do an update and send an email tomorrow. Going back to the hot springs tomorrow in the snow. I think I can take a video in the day. You can't take a video at night because everyone's walking around naked. What the hell happened? Who got out of the pool naked on the way out?
Everybody.
Everybody. I don't know what's going on there. It's pretty crazy. What happens in the spring stays in the springs. It's pretty insane. So good times. I will update everybody tomorrow. Do you have anything to say to everybody? I mean, think about like there's like 50 people in Las Vegas, Chicago, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, all over the country that are watching it. That are gonna be like, wow, you did a video about sports betting. Do you want to tell them anything?
Do I want to tell them? No. We're gonna have fun at the hot springs tomorrow.
Yeah, and we're gonna watch Tampa Bay win, even though there's no cell phone reception there, because that's who you like. Yes. Tampa Bay beating. Yes. Sorry, I can't see it. There it is. Tampa Bay beating Chicago. I mean, it says yes. Here's the thing, that they have a really strong goaltender in Chicago. So I don't know if Tampa Bay is actually going to put up 4 or 5 goals. And I mean, I don't know, but the algorithm's doing what the algorithm's doing, so I shouldn't knock it. Like, basically, the videos consist of me.
I changed his mind, guys.
No, because I'm just trying to read the board. I'm second guessing myself all the time. But it's telling you to do something, and you could just listen because it's usually right. So,
is that what you found?
I built the algorithm so that I wouldn't have to have bad luck.
Right.
I built the algorithm so that it tells me what to bet, and I don't have to think.
Yeah.
And it's been working.
Yeah.
So, keep it up.
So you said the streak part, so I guess this is getting ahead.
No, it's not. You want to try to add it in right now?
Okay.
God, it's going to be difficult. All right, so
well, you don't have to.
I'm not going to add any coding wise, but I'll tell everybody what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to itemize the days in order in the past. So kind of the way you do this is you can write a formula where you say that like how many days ago was something. That's where you start. And you say equals today. Glasses are coming on, everybody. Today minus this number, which was the date of the game. And this is looking like a date, so you actually need to format this as a regular number so that it makes something. So this was 32 days ago. Apparently I've been recording hockey games for the last 32 days. So if we go down and we say that these games happened today, these ones on the 4th, the ones that we were just talking about happened 1 day ago. What we could say is, for example, we can work at this in one formula. I can do it pretty quick. So it's going to be, you're going to say how many count ifs this team, and we're going to make some criteria for this. We're going to say that this team right here has to win the game. Oh, God. Winning and loss is over here. Actually, I need to do more coding on this to make this work. But this would tell you like how many times they won by win strength. This is what happens when I try to code in the middle of videos. It destroys. I need to do this offline and actually code in the wins and losses probably. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you who's hot and who's not. Hot or Not was an old dating app when I was young. Who's hot or not, and it would show you that Chicago's a little hotter than you'd be comfortable with betting Tampa Bay because Chicago has been playing pretty well. I think off my memory, actually, I need to write this formula so that we don't use my memory, which is flawed. We should use the actual numbers. So that's what we'll do for tomorrow because Katrina has insisted that we do that. So we will.
I didn't insist.
No, but you're right. It should be there because it's important. Because I'm telling you not to bet Tampa Bay. I'm telling you to go against the algorithm because of a stat that is not listed.
Yeah,
and as an appropriate woman, you are pointing out when I am bullshitting. So we'll fix that. Anyway, good luck, everybody. May your picks be winning. I'll take some video from the Strawberry Hot Springs in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. It was awesome. We were looking at the stars, seeing shooting stars. It's hot, like 100-degree water. It's super cool, and people are naked. It was a pretty good time. So good luck, everybody. May all your picks be winning.